Excuse me. Is this your bag here? That's yours? Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that.
everyone. Good afternoon, good afternoon. If you consider yourself an entrepreneur, can you raise your hands? Okay, lots of founders in the room. What are some of the challenges you all face? Capital, right? We heard that already in some of the earlier sessions. Ecosystem building, right? That's a big one. That's why we're here this afternoon. My name is Tanya Dahl. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Camelback Ventures. We are a national accelerator supporting entrepreneurs in New Orleans and across the country. We have 2 fellowships per year where we invest $50,000 of unrestricted funding into tech and ed ventures. We have an annual convening. Salam, who started us off this afternoon, mentioned Guardian Summit. So we invite you all to Guardian Summit here in New Orleans at the Four Seasons New Orleans, June 9th through the 11th. Check it out. There'll be other founders there, investors, funders. It's a great space to build community, and that's what ecosystem is about, right? That's why we're here. This is why NOEW's here. And I am joined by some amazing founders, Camelback Fellows, a current Camelback Fellow, and past Camelback Fellows who are leading innovative ventures in tech. So I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourselves very quickly, and we're going to just hop right in. The first question, when you think about ecosystem, what does that actually mean for you as a founder building in New Orleans and beyond? And what are some of the challenges you're navigating today? Shay?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shay Claiborne. I'm the founder and CEO of Milestone Mate. We offer a all-in-one platform that simplifies how parents and providers track, monitor, and support early development. To start off with your question about ecosystem, so to me, an ecosystem is really the people who have supported me before my venture becomes profitable. And that first, Camelback, so many people that's in the room, Nexus Louisiana, Tech Plug, will offer me a space to work for free, building and simplifying this solution that I have. But also when it comes to ecosystems, I think of all the way back to customer discovery. Like, there's a saying in early childhood development, that's my background for over 10 years, you have to crawl, walk, then run. And it's the same thing for entrepreneurship and for a founder and for a venture as well. So when I think of ecosystem, it's those early people, those early families that I talked to during that customer discovery to get me where I'm at. It's the people who supported me, the funding that came along. And something, another question that you had was what's challenging right now. A challenging thing for me right now with my venture Milestone Mate is that we listen to our customers, that's providers, parents, and build this solution, right? But when we're building a solution of value and then bring it back to the same people who needed this solution, they're not always so quick to jump on new innovation. They don't want to be the first ones, right, to bring on this new solution. And so it's really like navigating all of those challenges. Do I go to another state who's on board, who wants, like, who's paying me to bring the solution to their audience, or do I stay here? So that's the challenges that I'm navigating right now with my solution.
Shay, thank you. Sharon and Spencer, your co-founders of Bypass Lines. I'll let you introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, Sharon Flowers Maple, CEO and co-founder, as Tanya mentioned, co-founder of Bypass Lines, and Spencer already knows to sit all the way to the end because he's figured we're going to go down this way and I'm going to say everything, and then by the time it gets to him, he'll just be able to say what she said. But I'm going to leave Bypass Line description to Spencer, but allocate that to him. More recently, we have started a new venture called Core. I don't know if anyone went to the pitch yesterday. We were in a 50,000 demo day pitch. Kind of embarrassed to mention because we didn't win, but we were one of the top 10 finalists. I'm going to run with that. Core essentially synthesizes data that is in medical records so that physicians could quickly see in a crisis what the patient most likely have. Like, this patient is 99% at risk for sepsis, for example. So in terms of an ecosystem, we have been in this space for a few years now. And I would say it means basically what Shay has said. It's the support, the networks and the individuals. So for those of you who are looking to get into space, I would highly recommend plugging yourself in like accelerator programs. That's a great way to start. That's how we met Tanya and Camelback. And I have to share that even, I think we went through the program 2020. So it's been like 6 years and she's still calling us and we're still tapping her and vice versa. It's a family with Camelback. We continue to get support from them through what they call expert benches. There's a list of mentors there that we can just go on a website and schedule with any of the expert benches, whether it's to learn more about our marketing strategy, and they're talking specifically about our business. So that's a great ecosystem. We've also participated in Idea Village. I don't see John in the room, but they have certainly been instrumental in making introductions for us over the course of a few years. And then there's some familiar faces that at events and conferences like this, you're like, oh, what you doing now? You know, and we're sharing, well, did you meet this venture? Do you know there's a new venture or there's this conference coming up? So that ecosystem has just been a blessing to keep us motivated, keep us going, keep us plugged into what's the latest that's happening in the city.
Sharon, thank you. Spencer, are you going to say what she said?
Ditto. No, I think that, not to repeat everything, but my name is Spencer Davis. I'm the COO, co-founder of Bypass Lines, and on the other side of that, of our venture, I handle all the, we have a component where we provide AI automations for hospitality and small businesses. We started off with, when Bypass Lines first started, we started with restaurants, and we've innovated that arena, and we're migrating into other areas, hotels and things like that. So it's been I'm the technical side, she's the talking side. So she pitches, I just stand in the back. But when it comes to ecosystems, I think it really comes down to getting out of your own skin, more or less not necessarily listening to all your cheerleaders at the house. They're gonna tell you that it's great, but then as soon as you go and talk to an investor or you talk to someone outside of that, they're gonna say it's trash. And I'm gonna tell you, it's probably trash. And I'm not being facetious, but what I'm saying is that you have to get out and you have to be able to get into the market so that people can see what you're doing, how you're doing, what changes you need to make. And you have to get beyond those people that, I know Uncle Jasper was an entrepreneur and he retired. He can tell you exactly how it goes. Things change. People look at things a lot different. Information is a lot faster. How you get, these tables that you're creating, you can use AI to do them. You don't need a lot of these other folks that used to do those things. So you have to get out there and just to piggyback of what Sharon said, those accelerator programs, it's hard to get in, but the goal is to get in, to ask questions, to go to the networking events, and create that ecosystem where people are kind of where you are and have those conversations. I'm not a guy that likes to have conversations. I don't like to talk to people, but that's just the way I grew up. But when I did go, I saw that there were people struggling with the same things that I was struggling with, and they had some solution that I didn't know about. And what's interesting is that it applied 100%. So building that ecosystem in a way that allow you to get more information, get seen, get heard, people understand what you're doing, and then you can then see how you can become that superstar business.
Spencer, thank you. Kwame, I know you were on a stage earlier today, the Founders stage, so some people may recognize your face, and you have friends in the room, I know. Can you please reintroduce yourself and your venture?
How you doing? My name is Kwame Terra. I'm the CEO and founder of Bear Health. We're a startup company based here in New Orleans, committed to maximizing health in the Black community. We have an app that gives you a health score, kind of like a credit score for your health, and it changes in real time as you change. So if you go on a run or a walk one day, score goes up a few points. If you get 2 or 3 hours of sleep, score goes down. Based on those changes, we make recommendations for how you can improve, as well as connect you to healthcare providers, resources, and experiences to help elevate that score. We recently opened up a co-working/wellness studio on Bayou Road here in New Orleans. During the day, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., you can work, study, read, do whatever you want. We have coffee, all things like that. And then in the evening, we have community host slots. So anybody that's a member of Bear Health can host a meetup there for free for 90 minutes, so long as you're a member and everyone that attends the meetup downloads the app for the first 30-day trial. So that's our business, that's what we do right now. As far as ecosystems go, an ecosystem, when you think about it, is basically something that gives rise to things, right? You think about our environment, right? Our environment gives rise to plants, it gives rise to humans, it gives rise to animals, and there are a variety of components that lead to these certain outcomes. I think the same thing is true, and you can think about that when it comes to like an entrepreneurial ecosystem. If you go to San Francisco, there are several components that have led to a significant number of startups reaching unicorn status, right? You can go there and find out exactly what those components are, and then come and look here and see which ones are missing, and that is why this ecosystem isn't the same as that ecosystem. And so as I'm building the ecosystem that I believe we need here, to help support my business, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. I don't think that we really have to recreate anything. The model already exists somewhere. So let's model that here, and then we'll start to see the results that we aspire for.
Thanks, Kwame. Let's shift to local community and trust. Sharon and Spencer. How have relationships within New Orleans directly shaped your company's growth, and what's been critical to building trust locally, especially as you've scaled your work and obviously now launching a new venture? Spencer?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I spent a lot of time in corporate America, working for a Fortune 500 company, and when I started my venture, a lot of the relationships that I had created, I actually went back to, just to ask those questions. The guys I was having lunch with and going to different events and conferences with, I just went back and started asking questions to those guys. So my community actually created an opportunity for me to have the first, open up the door for our first paying clients. So my community then went into the political arena where, New Orleans is big on councilmen and, state legislators and things like that. So I went back to those guys, and they were the ones who first created an app in Dillard University. And so it became that thing where I had to go back to my roots in that regard to actually get our first paying customer, and that was community. Just going back into my past, make that happen.
Roots are important.
Absolutely.
Sharon?
Yeah, what I would add to that is I mentioned the importance of trying to get into accelerator programs. I think one of the best kept secrets is really tapping universities as well. Starting to see, feels like within the past 5 years, like relatively recently, you see more and more universities having a entrepreneur center. Like Tulane has a big ecosystem, and I didn't realize that until I'm about to graduate from Tulane with my doctorate in public health in May. Y'all all invited to the graduation.
We're gonna be there.
And it's nothing I realize about myself, that I operate best when a timeline or deadline is coming. So with that graduation coming, I'm like, what resources have I been missing at Tulane? And there's a whole world of resources there, from the Tulane Innovation Institute. They not only have events and support for faculty, staff, and alum, but just being in New Orleans, you can take advantage of some of those pitch competitions, their pool of mentors. So I've met an extensive number of mentors that has helped us in terms of understanding what other resources are available at Tulane. If you're thinking that your idea is patentable, they have connections to connect you to their patent office, their attorneys there available, not to mention investments, their relationships with hospital systems like LCMC and Ochsner. Additionally, just expanding in the research world. So you may have an idea for something in the process of trying to test for it. So like the core venture that I introduced as it relates to electronic health records, it's like, where do you go from there? Well, Tulane Innovation Institute have partnerships and mentors that are in hospital systems that can tell you what requirements are needed, let's say for your software. And if you want to test the model, what dollars may be available for research to validate your software. And then, let's say, connect with Ochsner Sandbox, for example, to test your software out. So I would say plug into your universities, whether you're alum or not, and see what sorts of opportunities they may have to meet you where you are.
Thank you, Sharon. This is a great segue because Kwame, you've been very connected to Xavier University. We're going to switch to participation and giving back. How do you show up? Actually, let's rewind. Can you share an example of a collaboration or connection that only happened because you were deeply rooted in the local community? And that's why I bring up Xavier.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, our company used to be based at Xavier University, Louisiana for 3 years in the Entrepreneurship Institute. In 2020, when I first came up with the idea, the track and field and cross country coach at Xavier reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in going to school because he could pay for my school if I coached. And I wasn't planning to go to school at the time, but it was in the middle of COVID and perfect time for a transition. And Xavier had just released a Master's of Public Health program with a concentration in health equity. So I figured, I just came up with this idea, it'd be great to learn a little bit more. And that's what, dove me back into the Xavier ecosystem. I went there for undergrad as well, but this is what got me back in it. And about 2 years into completing that program, I ended up starting my office on campus there. And basically, I turned the Xavier South building into my entire ecosystem. I work with the mass comm department downstairs. I brought interns in from there. We have all kinds of camera equipment that we use for free through that system. The public health program requires that students complete 400 hours of internship credits to graduate. And so I've facilitated probably now like 75 students through our program to complete their internship program. So they're supporting us in all of the different needs that we have as it relates to like tabling and getting the word out about their health. And then they're able to use that to graduate. And so again, it's been a win-win as far as I can tell for the department and for our company. And just to piggyback on what everyone else is saying about incubators are a very, very strategic way to basically enter yourself into an ecosystem or give yourself an ecosystem wherever you are, whether the incubator program is local or virtual, because they throw all of those necessary components into your business instantly. When I first started trying to raise money, I applied to different not pitch competitions, but investors, right? So I reached out to the investors. Some of them answered, most of them didn't. Most of them said no. That's just kind of how it goes in the beginning. And so I pivoted to applying to incubator and accelerator programs. I probably applied to like 150 in the month, not the month. That would have been crazy. In 2023, and we got into about 8 or 9 of them. We raised like $85,000. That was our first year as a company, and again, I've learned so much in all of these programs, and we've now been in probably like 12, or probably in our 12th to 13th with Camelback, and you just learn so much faster, you make far fewer mistakes, and you're just stronger as an entrepreneur because you know what to expect, you know what's coming on this journey because you've heard it from a variety of people. And then finally, another additional component that you don't necessarily think about as it relates to entrepreneurship is how you're going to take care of your mental health, because no one understands what you're doing. No one does, but especially in the startup space. It's so uncommon, especially in a market like New Orleans, to be building a startup that you're trying to scale to $1 billion, and so you don't really have that many people to talk to about everything that you're going through. And I've found that in incubator and accelerator programs, the other entrepreneurs have become essentially like my mental health department, and all it takes is a conversation with them for me to feel like everything is okay. And it's just us telling each other about what we're dealing with. When it's not like, hey man, how are you feeling? You know, how's this made you? It's nothing like that. It's just a conversation about, oh, it's just an update conversation. But that really level sets everything, because you're like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. I'm not the only one who's, you know, significant other's about to leave because of that. You know, it's just like, they get it. And you're like, no, but we still going, no matter what. Like, we going to the top. Like, that's just, that is, I outsource my mental health to other founders. And so, yeah, it's important that you think about yourself as the outcome of an ecosystem, not as just this person driving. Because if you think about, like, us, let's think about humans, for example. If there was no oxygen in the air, immediately we're all gone. So I mean, we're humans, but we're also this oxygen. There's this very integral relationship, and so everything that's needed to be a successful founder, make sure that it's a part of your life, and then you'll more than likely become a successful founder.
Kwame, thank you. Shay, Kwame talked about scaling. Let's talk about expanding beyond New Orleans. How have you balanced staying grounded locally while tapping into national or global networks, capital, and opportunities in the entrepreneurial ecosystem?
So tapping outside of the New Orleans ecosystem is about momentum and using that momentum to drive you forward. In order to have momentum, you have to have fuel, right? And what brings that fuel is one of the best things about business. The one way to validate your business is a paying customer. A paying customer is going to take you to the next level. It's going to show you that you're not only needed in your ecosystem, but you're needed somewhere else. And that's the best way to expand beyond New Orleans ecosystem. That has helped me where sometimes in New Orleans or Louisiana, the funding is not here for organizations to bring on new technology or new innovative tools. But there's another state that may be ready right where you are to adopt your tool. So let's go over here, let's adopt the tool, let's bring in some revenue, and then circle back to our ecosystem and show them our findings and our learning. So that's something that has helped me.
Does anybody want to add anything else to that?
I mean, I'll add that.
System outside of New Orleans.
Yeah, for sure. I think, so we've raised about $300,000 in cash over the past 3 years, 250 in-kind contributions. 15,000 of that has come from New Orleans. And that's not a knock at the city. It's just, you know, it's just, it was my experience. And I guess we could consider Camelback's money New Orleans money, so 65,000 now from New Orleans. But that's most recently. So, you know, you should tell everybody your idea. If everybody in the world doesn't know your idea yet, obviously that's really challenging, but that's the idea. You try to get it to where everybody knows your idea. And like Shay was saying, like some local people might not be ready for what you're offering, might not see the vision of what you're offering, and that's okay. And the thing about investors in particular is that they're all individuals with like their own preferences and experiences and what they think is possible. So it just so happened, in my view anyway, that the majority of the investors here don't see the vision that we have. That's okay. I don't think that there's anything bad about New Orleans, that those individuals don't see that vision. But the Harvard Innovation Labs in Boston saw the vision. The Community Health Incubator, I forget where they're based, but I think it's virtual, they saw the vision. Our technology partner based in Zurich, Switzerland, they see the vision. They've invested the most in the company. And so it's again, just about telling as many people as you possibly can about your story. And then, as you start to grow, the local market will start to engage again. But fortune's in the follow-up.
Yeah, I want to add something real quick. I think that a lot of times we take advantage of these networking events. We have them here, we have them in Baton Rouge, but everyone is creators. We have social media, you know, that gets you to the world. I don't know what that algorithm does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think you have to get in front of the camera. You have to tell your story. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to talk about what it is that you're doing 100%. All the time. Even if you only have one follower, talk to that one follower like they're the best person on the planet, right? But what happens is it grows. It continues to grow. It continues to grow. Tell that one follower to get someone else. And get a YouTube channel, get a TikTok. Those are all free. I know you've heard it 100 times. But you gotta do that if you want to get beyond the borders of New Orleans.
Thank you. And Shay, you wanted to add something real fast. And we're just at time. We're going to wrap up with one final question. Shay's going to jump in.
Yes,
right
I
now.
wanted to add one thing, and I think this highlights something especially nice about Camelback is that at the end of the fellowship, we have this thing called Founders Roundtable, where they bring in founders from all over that are interested in the type of companies that Camelback have. And so that was another resource for me that expanded me outside of New Orleans. I was able to be in contact with over 10 funders, angel investors that not only some may go on to invest in my company, but those connections, I literally had a call yesterday with a guy from the Founder Roundtable. They gave me 15 minutes of feedback that was valuable. So not only is funding important, but also that mentorship and value can expand you beyond the city as well, that sometimes you don't get just being here.
Shay, so very quickly, I want you to give all of these people in this room, right? This is a new ecosystem. So what do you need? How would you like to connect with folks, and how can they stay in contact with you? And we're going to go down the line, please.
Yes, absolutely. So right now with Milestone Mate, we are live. We are live. So parents of young children, birth to 5, can go onto our platform to log on to track their child's development. So if you know any parents 0 to 5, definitely connect them to Milestone Mate. Something else that you can support if you have any providers in your network, so whether that is a pediatrician or a speech therapist, we are constantly always onboarding new providers to supplement services for our families. So if you know anyone, definitely connect them. You can find me as Shay Claiborne on all of social media sites, and Milestone Mate as well.
Well said. I would just encourage everyone to visit the website, bypasslines.com. I'm happy to answer questions. You can find me at Sharon. Sharon's with a C at bypasslines.com. Something else I was going to say. I would just say keep pressing on. I know I'm speaking to the choir. If you're trying to start a business, you're up late at night, but find the accelerator programs. That's what I was going to say. That I know Idea Village has a program that's coming up in the summer, so stay tuned for that. And see Spencer on the end, he thinks I'm gonna sum everything up. I'm leaving some stuff for him.
So for me, you can follow me on social media at Kwame Terra, KWAMETERRA, and then also Bear Health, BEHR Health. We did just launch our official app at the end of last year, so definitely go to the App Store. It's free for the first 30 days. After that's $40 for 90 days or $100 for the year. And I have this side quest actually that I also want people to engage with right now. I decided that I'm going to create a tool using AI every week for the next 52 weeks. I just discovered a tool, started using it. I created my own personal website, created a new website for Bear, and created 2 additional products since then. I encourage people to play around with that because it helps speed up the process between when you have an idea for something and when you can actually put a product in the market and let people start engaging with it. And so I actually want everyone in here right now to go to neworleansblackowned.com. I created basically a directory tool for Black-owned businesses, and so your business is probably on there if you have a Black-owned business in the city, and if not, you can add it. And it's basically a tool to show exactly how many dollars are being circulated in the Black community every month, and so you can go and log that you went to a business or paid for service at a business, and it'll populate on the community dashboard. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that side quest with people.
I want to say ditto, but from an AI perspective, with Bypass Lines, we're working with restaurants, real estate agents, insurance companies, hotels. We're performing automations for complex questions, for lead recovery. So if you have a large list of old leads, we sick AI on that, and we get about 30% return on those. We work with so many different areas of business where we institute AI. I build those in your systems and either not necessarily to replace, but to augment and to create efficiencies as much as possible. So engage with us, bypasslines.com, or just check me out here. I will be around. So.
Thank you all. It is such a privilege to always hear about your updates. You all are inspiring. The founder journey is real. And keep on keeping on, like Sharon said. Also join us, Camelback Ventures. We have our Guardian Summit happening here in New Orleans, June 9th through the 11th, guardiansummit.com. We have 2 fellowships per year for ed and tech founders. We invest $50,000 in unrestricted funding into your ventures if you get into the fellowship program. The next application cycle is this summer. So thank you all. Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you all for being here.
look, it did that, and I just ain't changed it on the feature. So you up there for now, dog.
What's up?
Joe.
All right.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we were just talking about it. Say again? We were just talking about it. Oh, yeah.
What's up, brother? How y'all doing, Jim? Good to see you, brother. Nice to meet you. Always a pleasure, Jalen. Nice to meet you, sir.
Bro, yeah, you know, let's just stay locked in, man. I'll make you like